How's it going, good people? Today's project will be installing a ceiling fan on a 20-foot ceiling. That's right, 20 feet. We have a scaffold that has been rented to complete this job. One question that was asked was, should I use a ladder or a scaffold? So, let me explain. Hey, my name is Kenny. I'm the owner of Robinson Handy and Technology Services based in Montgomery, Alabama. And as I mentioned, this video will be installing a ceiling fan on a 20-foot ceiling. That is 20-foot ceiling. And the question that I asked was, should I get a ladder or a scaffold? And in discussion with several other handyman for this particular project, they suggested to use a scaffold and not a ladder. And the reason being is you theoretically have a little bit more stability on a scaffold versus a ladder. And because, I mean, the ladder and the scaffold both have 4 points, but a scaffold is designed for moving across a greater area and to be able to accommodate a little bit more flexibility or whatnot. And so thus I went with the scaffold option. Even the guy at the scaffold place that I rented it from, he was like, you could get a ladder for it. And I was kind of telling him the same thing about the suggestions that were made about scaffold versus ladder, thus getting the scaffold. Does it cost more to rent a scaffold versus a ladder? Yes, but when you really think about it, what is more important? The cost of getting the job done or getting the job done in a safe manner? And for me, it would be getting the job done safely, not necessarily getting the job done for the cheapest price. That being said, got a scaffold. All right, let's go roll some footage and get this job done. Now, to kick things off, this is the scaffold already set up. At the time, I did not have videos like I normally do now, so all I have is photos of the project and how it went. But this is the scaffold fully assembled. I put a tarp down on the floor to make sure that the floor itself did not get scratched, because as you can see, they have what looks like hardwood, but it may be wood look flooring, like vinyl or something. I'm not fully sure, but I wanted to protect it either way. So I brought 2 tarps that would cover the space. As I got through working with this, I actually figured out that this is probably actually more like 18 feet because each of these levels are 5 feet on the scaffold. So 5, 10, 15, and I was able to sit on this top level but not able to stand. And even with sitting on it, my head was probably maybe 6 inches or so, give or take, from the ceiling. So this is more so probably about an 18 or 19 foot ceiling instead of the 20 that the customer originally stated that it was. So this is the old ceiling fan, and what happened to it? Well, she just said it stopped working. In particular, the motor stopped working. So more than likely, the bearings or the windings or something else in the motor just gave out due to old age. The ceiling fan was original to the house, and given the space, this ceiling fan is not really big enough, to be honest with you. But when you buy a house, typically you get what the contractor provides, and well, this is what the contractor provided with the house. Next thing up is that we have the connection point at the ceiling. So as you see, there's a hole here, and we have the wiring. So all of the greens and bare wires connect together as the ground. We have our light wire, which is the blue wire here, connected to the black, and white to white, which is neutral, and black to red, which is the fan. And this is the original configuration that it was in before I took the old fan down. So I always take a picture of how it is wired before I take it down, and then install things based upon that same configuration. That way, when you go to, when a customer comes back in later on and they go to flip the first switch like they're doing out of habit, the fan doesn't turn on. Like if the first switch was the light, you still want the first switch to be the light. So that's just something I do to try to, make things consistent and less likely to have a significant transition or major issues, if you will. Now, because the ceiling fan was as long as it was, they had these splices here, so you connected or extended the wiring there on the old fan. I did not have to do this on the new fan because the new fan was designed for that particular space. And so one thing that did stand out to this is these. So this is what not really sure what it is. It looks like a spacer of some sort. I've never seen anything like this. I've seen washers stacked together, but this here part looks like it screws into something else, was used to space the gap between the junction box and the ceiling, because the junction box was actually kind of further up in there. It's like they used maybe too thick of a drywall or something, or they used drywall in addition to the what they call the furring strips on top of that, and then connected to the joist. So the drywall was further away from the junction box than what it should have been. So this was put in place of that there. Now this is the new fan that I put in. As you see, the fan blades are much more significant, and it gives you a better perspective of the entire room. So as you see this, I'm standing on the floor of the first, from the first level, and you can see all the way up. This is the second level here on the staircase and the railing, and this is the new fan that was installed. And here's another perspective of that new fan. And this particular fan only has fan blades that go in one or designed to fit in one way. There's no flipping of the fan blades like some fans have fan blades that have two different sides on them. This is designed to go one way. All of the screws for this particular fan connect on the back side or the top side of the fan so that you can't see them from the bottom up. But if you were to go upstairs and look down from the top of the fan, you would see the screws that connect the fan blade among the other parts that are there. And that is the new fan. I did reuse the existing pole that was on the old fan. Literally just took it off the old fan, put it on a new one, and reconnected up, and that's what you see here. And so, yes, this was, in my opinion, far better and easier to set up with the scaffold. I'll be honest, in hindsight, I think I probably would have been skeptic of using a ladder on this, in particular because of the fact I had to climb up with that fan to the top level. And so by having that scaffold there, I was able to rest the fan on the scaffold, do some climbing, move the fan up, climb some more, move the fan up, and then connect everything. Whereas if I was on the ladder, I would have had to climb the ladder in addition to pulling that fan, holding the fan up at the same time. And I think that would have been a little bit too difficult to try to accomplish with this particular type of job. So I'm glad I did get the scaffold. The scaffold at this time of renting this was, for these three sections, were about $100 or so. And I rented it from, I believe it's Sunbelt Rentals. And so the way they do things is, at least the Sunbelt Rentals location here, when you rent equipment from them, they charge you by the week. So, you know, some places they charge you by the day. This place, they charge you by the week. So I literally could have done multiple jobs with this 3 pieces of scaffold, or 3 sets or levels of scaffolding for an entire week, and would have paid the same price, but I didn't need it. So I picked it up on a Friday because the Sunbelt place is closed on the weekends here. So I picked it up on a Friday, did this job that Saturday, went and returned this that following Monday. And so, you know, it was the same price, like $100, $125, something like that for the entire week. And so I was able to get it done in that way. All right, so that wraps things up for this particular project. Thank you for checking things out here. If you like the content or home improvement, hey, subscribe, give a video a thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next project. Thank you for watching.